All right, welcome to another video. Hope you guys can hear me. I'm at a truck stop, a lot of engines around me running and my reefer's running. So I hope you guys can hear me pretty good. Today I want to talk to you about an idea, because we are in war with Iran, and a lot of people are saying, you know, this is going to be the end of the United States. This is going to be the end of Babylon. All right. So I think the same thing. I feel like this could actually be the big one. This could be the one that brings down Babylon. But we need to think about what happens after Babylon. We need to think about what happens after the rule of law has been trashed. What happens when a society collapses? There's always a power struggle. There's always a power vacuum, okay? And I've been watching like Professor Jang videos lately about the war and about what happens and all these types of things. And, you know, he talks about there being a power struggle. Who's going to be the next top people? Who's going to be, you know, what's going to be the next ruling class? Okay. And I want, and I believe, and I feel very, very strongly that we are going to be returned to rule by Yahweh's rules and his commandments. For all you Jesus people out there, Yeshua says, if you love me, obey my commandments. We are going to obey Yahweh's commandments. What does that look like? So I had to do a quick look up of some things, and the first thing is the idea of a theocracy. And a theocracy, I'm going to read it from Britannica. And it says, a theocracy is a government by divine guidance or by officials who are regarded as divinely guided. In many theocracies, the government, leaders, are members of the clergy, and the state's legal system is based on religious law. Theocratic rule was typical of early civilizations. All right, so I want to go back. Let me go back one and look up one. I want to show you guys one more thing. This is the definition that Google gives, okay? And it's like a sentence. So it says, theocracy, a system of government in which priests rule in the name of God or a god. All right, and I'm gonna use it here. It says, the Commonwealth of Israel from the time of Moses until the election of Saul as king. All right, so from the time of Moses unto Saul, Yahweh ruled as it was ruled as a theocracy. The commandments of Yahweh was the law. It was the governing law of the land. There will be a complete return to this. Now, are they going to fight back? Of course. And it's going to usher in other things in the timetable, you know, toward the book of Revelation and the book of Daniel and all these different things, okay? Just because Babylon falls, it doesn't mean the end of the world. It just simply means the end of Babylon. Look at when Germany fell, okay, after World War II. That split up their kingdom, but the countries are still there, okay? They took on new names, they took on new identities, they became independent, okay? If America falls, it's going to do the same thing. The continent of America, of the United States of America, is going to splinter into different groups. Now, the Hebrew Israelites, we're going to take our part, okay? We're going to say, hey, we are ruled not by man, but by Yahweh's rules. We are returning to the rules of Yahweh, all right? And I want you guys to understand, I want us to take this seriously, because they couldn't do it before. And Yahweh gave them an ultimatum in Deuteronomy 28. And we already know what happened. We can see what happened. So we're going to get another chance. This is kind of like how the children of Israel, they were too afraid to go in and take the, go into the promised land and take it. You know, they saw that there were giants in the promised land. They saw that These people had very strong walls, very strong cities, very strong everything. And y'all was like, yeah, they do. It's just known. Yeah, they do. But that wasn't the orders. The orders were to go and take it. The orders were to go in and take over, okay, in Yahweh's name. They were afraid to do it, so Yahweh made them wander for 40 years to kill off everybody who was in the previous generation. This also did another thing. It served as a point of, how do you say it? Okay, there were people who were Egyptians who left with the Israelites. They were considered sojourners, okay? But their children were not considered sojourners. Their children, their offspring, when the parents died off in the 40 years of wandering, their children were, all of a sudden, they were Hebrews, okay? They were not Egyptians anymore. They were now full-blown Hebrews. So this is going to happen the same way. All right. We did not obey Yahweh's laws the first time. So he made us wander 400 years, not 40 years, 400 years. Okay? Over 400 years. So now we're coming back. Babylon is going to fall. And he's going to say, now go in and take what I told you was yours from the beginning. Now we're going to take over. We're going to use his rule. We're going to use his ways, the original ways. No more of this, hey, I don't want to be like this. No more, I don't want to be like that. Now it's going to be strictly Yahweh's ways, his rules, all right? His commandments. I want to read something real quick. This is out of Deuteronomy, Leviticus 18. Hold on. Like I said, yeah, this is Leviticus. Like I said, I'm reading from, I like this Bible, Geneva Bible. It reads very weird. A lot of the wording is Old English wording, so it kind of messes up my head when I try to read it. Because these are U's and U's or V's, and it's crazy. But anyway, Leviticus chapter 18. I'm going to start in verse 1. It says, And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord your God. After ye doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do, and after the manner of the land of Canaan, whither I will bring you, shall ye not do, neither walk in their ordinances, but do after my judgments, and keep mine ordinances, to walk therein. I am the Lord your God. Okay? Ye shall keep therefore my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall then live in them. I am the Lord. Okay? All right. I want to keep reading, but I can just keep reading and reading and reading because there's so much good stuff in this, but I want to stop right there, all right? You see, at the beginning, he told them, when you go into this land, hey, you're not going to imitate none of the ways of the Egyptians before you, nor are you going to imitate the ways of the heathen around you. I want you guys to understand this because this is very important for us in this time right now. We are coming into a time where, like I said, if Babylon falls, if the United States falls in this war, we are automatically returning to Yahweh's rule. No more will we be a part of Babylon. Because you got to think, what happens after Babylon? What happens after Western rule? What happens after the United States? What happens to democracy? What happens to, the republic? What happens to, democratic rule? What happens to all these things? They go away with the kingdom. No more. We can already see that everything that happens now, they call it democratic, but it's not. It's only for the wealthy. It's only for the people at the top. Everybody else, we're just subjects of those people. All right. Fun fact, slavery. Slavery did not end with the 14th Amendment. It created the entire framework of the United States. Everyone became a slave to We were all subjugated to the ruling class, to the wealthiest people. All right. That's the big business owners. That's the big investors. That's the big, all the big families who are trillionaires. All right. We are subject to rule by them in this setting, but no more, because under Yahweh's commandments. All right. I want to read something up here that I saw just in passing. I want to see if I can find it real quick. And basically what it's saying is, and I don't see it anymore. But anyway, I saw it, my eye caught it just a second ago. But the thing about it is, Yahweh said, these rules, they're for you and for the stranger who lives amongst you. See, the first generation, you're stranger. Second generation, you are Israel. Your children will be Israel. Right? And that's just how it's going to go. It doesn't matter who you are, what walk of life you come from, you're going to have to abandon everything that was back there. Like I said, we're not bringing in, like in 18, it says, chapter 18, he's telling, we're not bringing in the ways of the Egyptians. We're not bringing in the ways of the Canaanites. We're not going to adopt them later. We're going to stay with Yahweh's rules, and we get a second chance to do that now. And I want you guys to remember that they wandered for 40 years, all right, then walked into the promised land. We disobeyed again. Yahweh multiplied it times 10. We were lost for 400 years and forced to do everything in Babylon society, to worship their gods. All of us were made to worship their gods. All of us were made to eat the things that the king ate, the things that the Babylonians, the Chaldeans eat and ate. We were made to work in their society for those ruling class people. We were made to fight on their behalf in their militaries. We were made to do all of these different things because these were the choices given to us. We didn't know about it at the time. We didn't understand that we were going against Yahweh's rule. We were just living. But now we're coming out of it. The curses have reversed. And you guys can see this thing happening faster and faster and faster. That the curses have reversed. And now the people who were on top, the Babylonians, the Chaldeans, now they're fixing to be on the bottom. You call them Gentiles, Chaldeans, people of the north, whatever you want to call them, okay? They are going down. The ship is sinking, all right? And as I started thinking about this, I said, what's going to happen after all of this goes down? Well, we're going to return to a theocracy. We're probably going to elect, 12, 24 elders, and they are going to interpret the word of Yahweh according to how Yahweh wanted it interpreted from the beginning. Men that are going to be on their face, men and women that are going to be on their faces before Yahweh 24/7, always interceding, always praying, always walking it out, getting the essence, the understanding of the word, convening with each other, coming up with a plan and saying, this is how this goes, this is how this goes, okay? And then applying that to society the way it used to be, the way Yahweh wanted it before King Saul came, before the people demanded a king, before they demanded a king, okay? I want us to think about it. Get your mind wrapped around it. Start familiarizing yourself with Yahweh's laws. And I ain't talking about just the 10 Commandments. There's a whole lot of laws outside the 10 Commandments. We really need to be focusing on the books of Moses, okay? Because these are going to be the things that are the cornerstone of modern society, of the future society. All right? There's going to be a lot of people who say, but we're Christians. We're not Christians. We're similar. We believe in Christ, Yeshua. We follow his dictates, but we also understand this is the Father's kingdom, It's not Christ's kingdom. So because we understand this, we are not so focused on Christianity. Yes, Christianity is the cornerstone, because without Yeshua, there wouldn't be no redemption. No one else outside of Israel would be able to be saved. Right? So yes, Yeshua is very, very important. But also we understand it was the Father's kingdom from the beginning. Before Yeshua stepped on the scene, it was the Father's commandments given to Moses by the Father himself. And we need to understand, okay, whose kingdom we're in, whose kingdom we're striving for. And it will be a kingdom that is 100% fair, according to Yahweh. Not according to man, not according to how much money you have, not according to who you are. You know, the atrocities that Trump and Epstein and all these big leaders and rulers and people, the atrocities they did to children, they should already have been stoned. Let's be real, or hung publicly for everyone to see that justice is served. Under Yahweh's rule, that's exactly what's going to happen. And you know, it's funny because we laugh at, you know, the Muslims. We laugh at Iran. We laugh at Iraq and those places. But they kind of got it right in a lot of ways. Okay, I'm talking about the Shia Muslims, not the Sunnis. The Sunnis, they're Americanized. They're after money. They have a lust for money and luxurious things that is unreal. Okay, Yahweh called us to be simple people. So I kind of agree with some of the things the Shia do, but they're Muslim, and we don't mess with Muslims. I just want to say that we will stay out of their way. They're gonna stay out of our way. Hey, I'm gonna see you when I see you. Good to see you, and keep it moving. But when you think about their society and how they have things set up, they have a board of leaders who are like high-ranking clergy who decide on everything in their society. There's some things that they perverted, of course, like women having to be covered from head to toe. That's a perversion of what Yahweh said, that we should dress modestly. We should, you know, women shouldn't be showing off their curves in such a, you know, sexual way. You got to understand where they come from. In the 60s, the women in Iran and Iraq and all those areas, they were very, very westernized, just like white people from Europe. They wore mini skirts, little bitty tank tops, little bitty shirts, showing everything. You know, they were very sexual people, just like the Europeans. And this group said, no, we're returning back to how it began, how it's supposed to be in the beginning. And so they did, and it made women cover up, which I agree with some of it, but I think they just went a little too far with a lot of it. But we want to make sure, when we look out amongst the nations, when we look out amongst the world, we want to understand and make sure that we get Yahweh's rule right. You know, first we rule our own homes and our own bodies, our own selves. Then when this nation falls, we declare and we go house to house and we get people, hey, are you going to come and join us? Or you're going to, you know, believe what we believe? Or you're going to walk away from this society because you got nothing left? There is no more of this society. They're going to try to create a version of it, but it's just going to be a race to see who's the new white people, who's the new ruling class. Okay? And everyone's going to want to be the new people on top. But Yahweh, he didn't tell us to do that. He didn't tell us to fight to be the new people on top. So we're going to fight to put him first, put his kingdom first. It's going to be a return from having gigantic farms to do all our food for us. Yeah, we'll still buy some things, but everything coming from another country or everything coming from these giant producers, no, you're going to grow your own food. You're going to work for yourself. You're going to do what you got to do. Of course, we're still going to work as a society, but you're also going to work for yourself, because that's according to Yah's word. you're going to have something to give. When you're in need, you're going to be given whatever you need. But when someone else is in need, we expect you to give what you can to that person, just like in the New Testament. Paul said in his writings, you know, we use the Bible and we go back to the truth of the word, and that becomes our society. You know, a lot of people, they're thinking of, oh, you know, I don't want everything to go down. I do. There's a lot of people who want this country to fall because it has become too much. It has become too much. Too greedy. Lust for everything horrible. And it's time for us to walk away from it. You know, when Yah is telling, hey, come out of Babylon, depart from her. This is what it means to depart from Babylon. What are you going to go to when you depart from Babylon? The only place to go is back to Yahweh's rule, Yahweh's words. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to depart from everything in Babylon. The food, we're going to go back to a more traditional food. We're going to go back to a more simple way of doing things. Okay? A lot of the stuff that we enjoy comes from other countries. We will probably still have some of those imports, but it's going to be much simpler. We're not chasing after the Joneses. We're not chasing after every new thing that comes out. We're not going to be lustful for more and more things. We're going to be desiring simpler life now. Family, Yahweh, those types of things. So I want you guys to give me ideas. What do you think? How do you think this would look? How do you think this would go? Share what you think, you know. And I have a community. I started the community post, so you guys can post in the community, and I would love to see what you guys think about things, and you know, where the future is headed. We already understand Yahweh's rules and his laws. Now it's time to put them in action. And it's time to make sure we walk out, you know, Yahweh's rules. And I believe in Yahweh's kingdom. I think it'll be great to have maybe 12 men and 12 women, you know, representing the people. And the purpose of having women is to make sure that women are never overlooked, that they're always involved with everything. Because I don't want to be like the Muslims, where the men rule everything, the women have nothing, and the women are overlooked and marginalized. And we don't want to do that. That's just my idea, my take on it. I'm a nobody. I have a very small channel on YouTube. You got much bigger players out there. But we're going to push for righteousness, for Yahweh's rule, for the things of Yahweh to be pushed forward, to the front, to the head. All right? And we'll see you on the next video. You have a great day. Enjoy Shabbat. And see you in the next. Bye.